Alright guys, this is DJ Guns on Laboratory of Metal on Zoo Tap Radio. Tonight I'm on the phone with members of Mudd Flux. What's up, guys?
How you doing? Alright.
Alright, so I've got Jason and I have the new member, 9. Correct?
Yes. Yep.
Alright, cool. So where are you guys from?
We're still in Tulsa, Oklahoma, for now. So we're north of you.
Right, you're about hour and a half north of us here in DFW. So, first of all, let's go do a little history between Jason and I. Jason, you and I, we've known each other for, I don't know, about 5.5, 6 years, I guess?
Yeah, every bit of that from when I was living in Dallas and playing in bands.
Yep, you're right. With your former band, we won't name the name, but we were introduced. we were introduced to each other through that experience, and we had a conversation then. And then you took a departure, and then you went to Mudd Flux, went to Oklahoma, and then formed Mudd Flux, which again, and I'll use the word again, departure from what you had here. And let's talk about Mudd Flux and how it all kind of came to be.
Well, it was a lot of people I knew here from growing up in Oklahoma, including 9. He and I played in a band together when we were teenagers, just before I actually moved to Texas. So when I moved back, he was always on my radar to have someone come in and play, but just at the time when I picked up other members, they were bringing people with them as well. So with Becky coming in, and at the time her husband Richard was playing bass, and then Zach, her nephew, started on, well, not original drums, but he came in after the original drummer left. So we went 3 years with that lineup, and, it was good. It was a family thing, and then Richard, just had some things in his life that he said I needed to do, kind of my list of to-do at the age I am, and I need to step back, and I totally understand the way he explained it. Made a lot of sense, and I think it couldn't have been timed better when we're in lockdown now. So I went back to the original idea and who I wanted to play bass and who I wanted to be in the band. So I called him. We had many meetings, many dinners together, and some rehearsals, and then finally thought, this is it. This is the way the music should have sounded from the beginning.
Right, exactly. No takeaway from Richard or anything, and you guys are a good band all the way around. And you guys have a sound that's just quite different than what you're hearing out there today. And like I said, I dig on it. I like it. And 2 of the songs that are kind of my favorites you guys had out was "Burn Me On" and "Cosmic Eye." And so I want to touch on those 2 songs and talk about them, and then after our conversation, then we'll go back and play them for the listeners. So let's talk about "Burn Me On," what that song is all about.
Well, I'll tell you kind of the origin of it, and I'll let 9 talk to you about evolved since his addition. But the song started with our original concept of what the band should sound like, and that is kind of a black label, Alice in Chains kind of grungy, thick sound. And Becky had some words put together that was her feeling is what music does to her.
Right.
That's the hint on. But as we evolved, things changed in the sound of it. But then that was the first song we started rehearsing with 9. And since then, the song's even evolved further into a much more idea and more of what we're going to be doing in the future. But I'll let him talk a bit of what he thought approaching that song and how he felt some things could be changed in it.
Okay.
Well, when he came over, we went into the song. It was a bass line written by the guitar player to the guitar line, and so I learned the song that way. And by a few weeks into it, I was hearing different things in my head, and so of course the freedom to go ahead and alter it a little bit, which I did, and it's still the same song. It just got a little groovy bass line.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was saying in our new sound is the bass is now independently
Okay. Well, and that would make sense, you know, because you guys individually, you guys are quite accomplished musicians. And speaking of that, Jason, we're going to start with you and ask you about some of your influences as a guitarist yourself.
I think the biggest influences were kind of your normal ones, which was Tony Iommi, and then you had a choice between Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads, and I guess I followed the dark side and went with Randy Rhoads. But nowadays, you know, most of the guys that I seek inspiration from, and this is from actually going through music college and schools, is I don't really pay attention to guitars anymore as I pay attention to the whole band, or I try to listen to instruments that are not guitars to get ideas of what can I do on a guitar that emulates what these great musicians are doing.
Right.
So I guess as you get older and broadens, you don't reach the tip of the mountain and go the other direction.
Okay. All right. So now I'm going to ask you the same question.
What were your influences? Oh, my influences.
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't be a musician today if it wasn't for Kiss. As every little kid that saw Kiss at the end of the 70s or whatever, you know, I was just, at 9 years old, that's what I was going to do. So, before that, I just liked the good songs. So, as a little kid, I remember liking Debbie Moon just because she had a beautiful voice, and I remember I loved the Knack. But you know, that and Alice in Chains, and I think the Beatles changed my life, actually. So I'm a huge Beatles guy, and Paul McCartney's a killer bass player, so he's an influence on my playing. Just had to interpret that into a more of a hard rock style.
Right.
And I love Nirvana. I love 311. I love Faith No More. So there's a lot. I love Billy Joel. A lot of influence.
Right. Very cool. Very cool. I guess as a musician, it's good to be well-rounded like that. You know, because
you can tell Shane by the people he mentioned that he's talking about people in bands that we all associate with great writers, and they write great songs. And that's a great song. I like good bass players, but I like a great song. And sometimes being a great bass player means being subdued and just playing a standard bass song because that's what the song calls for.
Right.
So,
exactly. Which you know, again, a good bass player can hold his own or her own in a band, and then also play off of the drums, play off the vocals, play off of the guitar. You know, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love Queen. Queen is a great band.
Yeah.
So,
well, very, very cool. So, with the new lineup and everything going on with the new bass player, anyway, are you guys going to go back in studio and re-record the old stuff, or are you going to come up with some new stuff?
I was thinking about that even a couple of weeks ago. There's a slight interest, but I'm kind of holding because he mentioned Kiss. Now, first album, if you look at it, kind of does a callback to the old Kiss Alive 2, and the next album will have kind of a look at one of our favorite bands. What I like about Kiss is by the third album or fourth album, they were doing a live album, and I think that the backup and kind of re-record the new versions will happen. But right now, the focus is on him picking up the pre-existing set, and then we're going to expand our set because of the quarantine. We can't travel very far, but we can play local. You got 3 hours, so we're going to do the pretty up for us and play a 3-hour show. But the plan is to write another full-length album by the end of the year, and we have one piece done and pieces of several other ones put together. But we probably haven't focused on the writing so much as just getting up to speed with everything right now.
Right. Exactly.
The good thing about the quarantine is that I haven't had to rush to learn a bunch of songs. I've been able to go slow with them and take time and kind of get to know them instead of, because a lot of times if you're given 5-10 songs, you don't really get to, I don't know, you have so much on your plate, you don't get to focus on one song. They've allowed me that, so, and it's been beneficial to me, so I appreciate that.
Right, exactly. Well, speaking of the pandemic, and you guys, of course, we just touched on that, but you guys are not able to play as much. So how has that affected you as a band in a negative or a positive way?
I think Zach and I are ready to kill each other, but that's because we all work together. But other than that, it's been a setback. But I don't, we had a couple of moments of that little bit of pandemic depression, but we lost our drummer lost his grandmother, and that was understandable. But it's really changed our mindset because it gave us this time to take a breath. That same breath we had before we came out. Remember me telling you we practiced for like 8 months before even saying anything to anybody that we were a band, and then came fully loaded with shows and albums. So it kind of goes back to that time to breathe, integrate Nine into the band, start new material, a new look, new photos, new videos, and now you're really be able to do it, and you don't have to be rushed.
Right, right, exactly. Well,
the first will be once the pandemic goes back out there, did we make good use of the time?
Right. And knowing you, Jason, I fully see that you guys are going to make good use of that time. So,
yeah, I hope so.
Well, I know that you're the consummate professional, so I don't worry about that too much.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, you guys again, you're coming out with a new look, a new sound, and everything else. So, can you kind of give us a glimpse of what to expect?
It's still going to be what we originally thought of, a little bit of retro meets a little bit of modern, in that kind of philosophy. But I think the overall sound as a whole, the listener's going to hear a more dynamic band. They can stop for that moment and kind of get lost in what the drums are doing, or lost in just the bass or just the vocals. And then go, oh, yeah, I forgot. What about this instrument over here? So you've got a lot more dynamics in the band overall. I think the stage show is going to be considerably different.
Okay.
We're not abandoning kind of our philosophy or anything like that, but I think it's going to be much, much more developed.
Okay, because I know when I saw you guys at O'Reilly's, I guess it was last year, you guys were pretty on point then.
Yeah, and that was one of the best shows. That's still up on YouTube and a few other places, and that was really a good show. We think back on that one, that was kind of a real peak for us. But of course, I think we came in from San Antonio or Amarillo at the time,
right.
So we've been playing those on there. I know this one's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot more ins and outs with this one, and I think the listeners are going to get definitely a full show, which is what we're known for.
Right. Right, exactly. So, you mentioned you guys not being able to play as much. Have you guys played at all in the last year?
Yes, we did. Normally we run about 50 shows a year, only end up 20. I think there was something like 25 or 30 that had been canceled. And so our last show was just at Halloween. We played our last show of the year, so it's been a while.
All right.
Since we've played, and I know the talk of us doing the travel like we used to is just dependent on when things open up again. But I've talked to several bands about doing a tour with them, a little bit bigger national bands, and we'll see if we can't make that happen.
Okay. All right, very cool. I know I'm excited, and I know the listeners who have heard the show and they heard your music on the show, I'm sure that they're willing to get back out there too and see you guys live again, because I know I am, and I'll be one of the first ones knocking at your door to see you. So there you go.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna wrap up this conversation, but I do want to come back once everything's kind of finished and final, and you guys got some recorded stuff out there going on, and get you guys on the show, and we can have another conversation.
Absolutely, you'll be the first to know.
All right. Appreciate that, man. Thank you guys very much for this opportunity, and we will look forward to what's coming up for you guys this year. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you.
All right, talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, that was my conversation with members of Mudd Flux, Jason and Nine, the new bassist. Hope you enjoyed it. I had an absolute blast talking to those guys as usual. Like I said, I've known Jason for several years now. Man, great day coming out of Oklahoma, so pay attention